The pastor fell down during his sermon. He grabbed his chest. His eyes were big and scared. "Make it stop," he said in a weak voice. "Make the crying stop." But no one else heard any crying. No one except the quiet woman who sat outside his church every single day for 385 days. Rain or shine, the woman everyone in the village just walked past like she wasn't there. Once upon a time, in a very small village, a village that everyone knew everyone else, secrets should have been impossible in this village. Gold had lived by herself since her mom and dad died 5 years ago. The church had become like her family. Gold wasn't special in any way that people could see, but Gold had a diary that told everything. Every special prayer meeting, every promise, everything is written in her own diary. She cleaned the church benches on Saturdays, put flowers out for Sunday church, sat in the back row, quiet but always there. Nobody really paid attention to her. She was like a chair or a table, always around but not noticed. Then Pastor Michael came to town. He came from a very big church in the big city. He was young. He talked with excitement, nothing like their old pastor, who mumbled when he talked and always looked down at his notes. Pastor Michael spoke with fire in his voice. People really listened when he talked. The church grew bigger. New people came each Sunday. Gold still sat in her back row. She never tried to get attention, but somehow Pastor Michael saw her anyways. "Gold," he said after church one Sunday. His voice was soft and strong. "God has been talking to me about you." Her heart jumped. No one ever noticed her, especially not someone important like Pastor Michael. "There is something special about your spirit," he said. "Would you stay after church for a special prayer?" She nodded. She couldn't find any words to say. The first prayer meeting seemed fine. He prayed with his hands held above her head, not touching her, never touching her. "You have a special job to do," he whispered, with his eyes closed tight. "God has shown me your path." Pastor Michael's words felt like rain to Gold after years with no water. Every word soaked into her thirsty soul. He asked her to come twice a week for special prayers. Tuesday night, Friday morning. Gold felt chosen for the first time ever, important and special. The church ladies noticed. They smiled at her in a new way. "Pastor Michael sees something in you," they said. Gold stood tall when they said this. But even then, there were signs something wasn't right. The way his shadow looked too big on the wall when he prayed. The way he looked at her face a little too longer. Gold didn't see these warnings. She wanted so bad to belong that she didn't notice that the water she was drinking had poison in it, after which she passed out. The special prayer changed after 1 month. Small changes at first, hard to notice. God needs special people for his work, Pastor Michael explained one evening. The church was empty, except for them. Pure people, secret people like you. He held her hands now when he prayed. His touch was warm and professional. Until it wasn't. "No one can know what we talk about here," he said. His voice got lower. "Secrets keep miracles safe." Gold nodded. She trusted him completely. Pastor Michael talked more and more about his big plans, about making church famous beyond their small village, about healing sick people to draw big crowds, about being known far and wide. "God has shown me you are the key," he told Gold. His eyes shined with something she thought was holy purpose. "Your faith will make something powerful happen." Gold wrote in her diary every night, pages filled with his promises, with her growing feeling of being important, with thank you prayers that God had finally seen her. God had finally located her. The church people treated her differently now. They moved aside when she walked down the aisle. They whispered that she was blessed, that Pastor Michael had picked her for special work. One Friday morning, he gave her a gift, a necklace with a tiny gold cross. "To mark you as a chosen," he said, putting it around her neck. His fingers touched her skin. Gold never took it off. The prayer meetings moved to his office, with the door locked for privacy, he said, for spiritual protection. Her heart beat so loud during those meetings. Sometimes she couldn't hear his prayers over the sound of her heart pounding. Faith needs sacrifice, he told her, his face close to her. Are you ready to give up things for God's plan? Gold said yes. She didn't understand what she was saying yes to. She only knew she wanted to make God happy, to make Pastor Michael happy. The diary pages from those weeks showed her handwriting changing, getting bigger, more sure. She believed she was about to be part of something amazing for God. 2 months later, Gold missed her monthly bleeding. Then missed it again the next month. She felt sick each morning. Her body changed slowly. Hard to notice at first. When she told Pastor Michael, he didn't look surprised. Didn't look worried at all. It's a miracle, he whispered. A holy baby. Gold was confused, scared. This wasn't what she thought he meant by miracles. The child isn't yours to keep, he said in a hard voice. You are just a carrier. This child will make our church famous. He touched her stomach. His eyes gleamed with something Gold thought was holy joy. Later, she would know it was just wanting to be powerful. You need to go away for a while, he said. People wouldn't understand the miracle. They would ask questions, and we can't allow that. We can't answer those questions. He set up for Gold to stay with his cousin in the next town. An older woman with a house that smelled like medicine and dead plants. A woman who never smiled. Gold packed one small bag, left without saying goodbye to anyone in the village. Tell no one where you are going or why. Pastor Michael warned, the miracle must be protected. The cousin's house was cold, small. Gold slept in a room with no windows. The walls were the color of old bandages. Gold continued writing in her diary every night. Each night, her handwriting changed again, got shakier, less sure. The pages from those months showed fear creeping around her faith. Pastor Michael visited once a month, always with small gifts, fruits, sweets, new pen for her diary, always with reminders. The child has great spiritual power, he said. His eyes never looked at her face anymore. They stayed fixed on her growing belly. It will make my ministry bigger. Our ministry, remember. Gold rubbed her belly when she was alone. And she always sings soft songs in the darkness of her windowless room. The baby kicked against her hand, strong like it was trying to warn her. But Gold was far from home, far from anyone who knew her, far from anyone who might have asked questions about what was happening. In her mind, this was all part of God's plan, and she was strong. One day, the pain started early morning when she was just 7 months pregnant. Too early. Gold was alone when her water broke. The cousin called Pastor Michael, not a doctor, not an ambulance. For hours, Gold cried for help, begged for someone to come. The cousin just watched from the doorway, cold-eyed and quiet. The baby came as the sun went down. A boy, small but with strong lungs. Gold held him for 5 precious minutes, counted his fingers, his toes, memorized his nose and his eyes. Isaiah, she whispered, just once, just for him to hear, a name she had picked weeks before, writing it over and over in her diary like a prayer. The cousin took the baby from Gold's arms and said, Mother shouldn't name what isn't theirs to keep. Pastor Michael came 2 hours later. He wore gloves to hold the baby, plastic gloves like the child might make him dirty. He's perfect, he said. But he wasn't looking at the baby's face. He was looking at his hands, his moving fingers, the way his eyes focus, then unfocus. I'll be back tomorrow, Pastor Michael promised. Rest now. You've done so well, Gold. He wrapped Isaiah in a blue blanket, took one tiny baby's socks as a keepsake, then left the other behind. But tomorrow came, and the next day, and the next day, he never came back for Gold. After a week, the cousin said Gold had to leave. Her job was done. The deal was over. Gold was so confused. She went back to the village, back to the church, her breast still hot with milk. Her arms felt too empty. She only held the single baby socks the pastor left behind in her arms. She waited until Sunday church, until the church was full. And when he got to the church, she screamed, "Where is my son?" Standing in the middle aisle. Her voice broke the silence during the prayer. Pastor Michael looked at her like he had never seen her before, his eyes wide with fake concern. Gold had been sick. He told everyone coming down from his platform to grab her arms. She's seeing things that aren't real. There is no child. The church ladies pulled Gold away. Their hands no longer gentle. Their faces were no longer kind. She needed help, they whispered. She had lost her mind. But Gold remembered every single details. The weight of Isaiah in her arms, the smell of his head, the grip of his tiny hands on her finger. She was not crazy. She was not confused. She was lied to. No one in the church believed Gold's story. Not the doctor they brought to check her. Not the police she tried to call. Not the church members who used to smile at her. She's crazy from having a baby that wasn't real, the doctor said. Wes Gold didn't understand. She was always strange, the church ladies whispered behind their hands. Too quiet, too intense. Pastor Michael offered to pray for her to get better in front of everyone, his hands hovering over her head like before, but Gold hit his hands away. "Where is Isaiah?" she screamed. "What have you done with my son?" They tried to give her pills, to make her sleep, to make her forget everything. Gold pretended to take them, spit them out when no one was looking. She kept writing in her diary. The pages got messier, words crossing over other words, but she wrote down everything, every detail, every lie they told about her. They wanted to send her away, to a hospital with locked doors and bars on windows. Gold ran away instead, slept in the woods for 3 nights, cold, hungry, but free. When she came back to the village, she didn't talk because she didn't want them to send her to the hospital. Not a word, not to anyone. She just sat there, outside the church, every day, waiting miracles happen for her someday. Gold's diary became her only voice, her only witness. She wrote about how people wouldn't look at her, how they crossed the street to avoid her, how Pastor Michael's face changed when he saw her sitting there. She wrote everything down and she waited. The truth was like a seed planted deep, and seed needs time to grow. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. Gold sat outside the church, from morning service to evening prayers, rain or shine, cold or hot, nothing stopped her. People stopped seeing her after a while. She became like a statue, part of the church steps, something that faded into the background. But Pastor Michael saw her. He would walk a long way around to avoid passing her. He would rush from his car to the church doors. But over time, Pastor Michael's face started growing pale. There were dark circles formed under his eyes. He lost weight. His talks got shorter and less focused. 6 months into Gold's silence waiting, the church piano player quit. She pulled Gold aside one day as she left after service, and she said, "The pastor isn't sleeping," she whispered. "He hears things, a baby crying, only he can hear." Gold said nothing, just nodded once, her face showing nothing. The crying followed Pastor Michael everywhere, the piano player said. At church, at home. In his dream, his sermons changed. He talked about guilt, about sins that can't be hidden, about judgment that comes even when people don't punish you. The church people grew nervous. Fewer people came, less money was given. Still, Gold sat, silent and waiting. She didn't need to speak anymore. Her silence was louder than any scream. And Isaiah's cries reached to the one ear that couldn't escape them. Gold wrote in her diary about the changes she saw. The way Pastor Michael jerked his head sometimes, as if hearing something sudden. The way he would stop mid-sentence, listening. The way sweat formed on his forehead, even on his school days. It happened on a Sunday morning, almost exactly 3 years after Gold had left the church. The church was half empty. Many had stopped coming. Something about the pastor's behavior made them very uncomfortable. Pastor Michael's hand shook as he held his Bible. He kept looking over his shoulders, pausing in his talks, listening for something no one else could hear. Then the crying started. At first, only Pastor Michael heard it. He stumbled in his reading, his eyes darted around the church. Then Gold heard it too, high and demanding, a sound she would know anywhere. Pastor Michael froze mid-sentence. His eyes grew wider with fear. "Make it stop," he whispered into the microphone. "Please make it stop." The church people shifted in their seats, confused by his behavior. The crying grew louder in his ears. Only he and Gold could hear it. Pastor Michael threw down his Bible, ran down the middle aisle, burst through the doors. He fell on his knees in front of Gold, where she sat in her usual place, grabbed her hands in panic. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I took him, your boy. I'm sorry." The church people followed, gathered around them in shock. "He was special," Pastor Michael gasped between sobs. "Different. I could see it when he was born. His mind, his spirit. I thought he would bring power to my church." He reached into his pocket, pulled out a tiny socks, the match to the one Gold carried. "He's with my sister," he said, "in the city. I told her he was an orphan, that his mother was dead." The crying grew so loud now, Gold could see Pastor Michael flinch with each wail. He clutched his chest. "He's autistic," he gasped, "but spiritually gifted. When he cries, when he dreams, things begin to happen." His face went gray, his grip on Gold's hands loosened. "Isaiah," he whispered, and then he collapsed, dead at Gold's feet. Heart attack, everyone said. But Gold knew it. Isaiah had called his soul to account. Justice had finally come. The church leaders came to Gold the next day, begging her for forgiveness, offered help. They pleaded with her to forgive them for not helping her. They found Pastor Michael's sister, found Gold's son. He was 3 years old now, beautiful, different and special, just as the pastor had said. Isaiah came home to Gold. His eyes knew her right away. His hands reached for her face. They left that village, started fresh somewhere new. Gold's diary ended there. A story of pain and loss, but also of justice and coming back together. 22 years later, a man closes the diary carefully, runs his fingers over its one cover. This isn't his diary. The handwriting isn't his. These are his mother's words, her pain and her truth. His name is Isaiah. He's 25 years old now. His mother, Gold, died 10 years ago. But he still comes here. He sits where she sat for all those years. He holds Gold's diary and her pain echoes through him, through his different special mind that sees and feels what others cannot. When he sits here, he can hear her whispering, "Justice comes to those who wait, even if they wait forever." Isaiah isn't just anybody. He carries her mother's story. And when he sits, the pastors who have come after Pastor Michael hear a baby crying, still feels eyes watching, still knows that some sins cannot stay hidden, some truth refuses to stay silent, even after death. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends who might love to see them. Till I see you again in my next story, goodbye.